We are going to be looking at some creepy videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. This first creepy video comes from the Supernatural Sleuth on TikTok, and I cannot explain this at all.
I'm not saying this is paranormal, but it is freaky. I want you guys to watch this video. It's one I filmed just a couple days ago. I was sitting in the vehicle waiting on my wife and daughters to come out of Subway. And I just happened to look out my window through the parking lot of this little small shopping center. And again, I'm not saying this was paranormal, but it is weird. And let me say this, the wind wasn't really blowing, at least not enough to do what you're about to see. The last time I checked, metal signs don't move on their own. Watch this video, it's not long, and tell me if you've ever encountered anything like this. Thanks for watching, have a great day. God bless.
So yeah, I can't make any sense of this clip. There are some people in the comment section of this video that are saying that maybe it's an earthquake, are you near the New Madrid fault, but then they realize that these are the only things that are moving, these handicap signs going back and forth. The cars aren't moving, the trees aren't moving, it's just these handicap signs. I mean, I was trying to see if anything else was moving in this video and it was not. And with the type of signs that these are, I would be thinking to myself, maybe something's trying to give me a message. This next video comes from Conscious Evolution Coach, and multiple people had witnessed this very bizarre cloud or whatever this was in the sky.
All right, I am in Chicago. Today I will put the date, but look at this cloud. Am I tripping? It's a pretty perfect circle. How the heck does that actually happen? I am all the way zoomed out, so that's pretty big. What is going on here?
So like I said, multiple people in her comment section also are claiming they saw the same thing, like this individual right here who says they're from Chicago and they took this photo. Now scientists, weather people, and so forth, they'll go on to say that something like this is what's known as a punch hole cloud or a hole punch cloud. But when I was a kid, I was always outside looking up at the sky, and I don't remember ever seeing anything like this. They always have to have answers for everything, and if they don't, then the answer is AI. And it's my own opinion, I feel like there's something up in the skies that's masquerading in the clouds or cloaking. This may sound silly, but around the same time that people were seeing this in the sky, over in Mobile, Alabama, something knocked all these pelicans out of the sky. Their bodies were everywhere, in the street, on people's lawns, on top of their homes. The theory is that it was lightning, but there were people leaving comments saying that what if there was something cloaked in the sky that knocked out all these birds? And it kind of reminds me of the movie Nope, and we know that Hollywood likes to give us the truth in plain sight in their movies. This next creepy video comes from Megs on TikTok. Now you may not see it at first, but I'll go ahead and slow it down after. She says it was only her and her brother there. She decides to record him passed out, and when she plays back the video, she notices that somebody appears and disappears at the end of the hallway. So I decided to go ahead and take a screenshot, clean up the image a bit, and this is what she captured. That is definitely an image of a person, but where are the legs?
Okay, after I got back from a short run, I came back to take a shower before going to work. And after the shower, I go into my room, getting dressed, and I hear somebody walking down the stairs. These stairs. Clearly somebody walking down the stairs. And then I hear some shuffling, so I come downstairs, I'm like, hello? Nobody's here. No one was here early this morning. And I come downstairs into the kitchen, and this is what I find. Let me turn the light on. This is what I find. I'm officially freaked out. Nobody's in here. All the cabinet doors and the drawers are open. All of them. I mean, I'm not scared, but I am officially freaked out. All of the doors are open. Didn't hear this kind of noise. I heard like shuffling, like somebody was in here walking or something. And then I come in here, and these drawers are open as well. And the chairs are by the table but turned the other way. I mean, what the f-? This is so weird. I've experienced stuff in this hotel before, but nothing like this. Hearing doors slam. That was a long time ago, though. But, it's just so weird.
I can actually hear the sincerity in this woman's voice, and I've had a experience very similar to this in one of my older homes I lived in that I had to make a video about. I went to the kitchen. It was around like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. All the cabinets were open, all the drawers were open, yet I did not hear a sound of them being open. It was one of the most terrifying homes I've ever lived in, and even talking about it now still shakes me up.
Warning, if you scare easy, this shit made my stomach drop. So once again, I could have gone my whole life without y'all telling me there's something behind me. In every single one of my videos is the one where I get flowers, no note. I thought that's what the TikTok was about, but apparently there is someone or something standing behind me in the doorway. I decided I'm going to screen record myself screenshotting the doorway, playing around with the settings. This is what I found.
That video is from Melody Rose, and the video she's talking about is this video right here, where her viewers noticed that there was someone or something behind her.
Okay, this might be nothing, but the timing is just not it. It was my birthday, right? And I got these flowers. Boom. They're dying. I know. That's not weird because it's me, okay? They die.
Now, it was this part right here where her live viewer said they could see an outline of a man standing right behind her, and yeah, I can kind of see it. Let me go ahead and see if I can lighten this up a bit. Yeah, I can definitely see it much better when I use this brighten filter right here, and it looks like an older man wearing a suit. That is spooky.
How does a grown man disappear after having abdominal surgery just to be found in the hospital ceiling nearly 2 weeks later? And is it coincidence that another man in a similar situation also ended up in the ceiling of a hospital in the same country? When 61-year-old Teddy went in for surgery at the Stellenbosch Hospital, he was understandably nervous about this procedure. He underwent the abdominal surgery on October 5th, 2017, and everything went just as expected. However, during his recovery, his nurse left the room for what she claimed was mere seconds in order to grab some fresh linens. But as she returned to the room, Teddy was nowhere to be found. The nurse frantically searched for her patient, positive that he couldn't have gotten far. Because of the seriousness of his surgery, he was bedridden, left almost completely unable to move independently. She called his family to ask if he had somehow returned home, sending his family into a panic. His family rushed to the hospital, searching the hospital grounds themselves before reporting him missing. The initial search for Teddy was unsuccessful. It was as if he had just vanished into thin air, but nobody could explain how. 13 days later, as a construction crew worked on hospital renovations, they discovered Tedetiki's body in an isolated area of the hospital ceiling. An area that's incredibly difficult to reach, even for a completely capable person, much less for somebody healing from major abdominal surgery, or for somebody attempting to lift a grown man above their heads by themselves. Police reported that Tedetiki's autopsy somehow pointed to natural causes of death, but seemingly never handed that report over. His family showed a lack of faith in the investigation, saying that they were told that nothing more could be done in his case, and it remains that way to this day. Similarly, just 2 years later, on May 10, 2019, a 53-year-old construction worker named Sandil was admitted to the Mahatma Gandhi Memorial Hospital. Sandil had been helping a neighbor with a house repair when a wall collapsed, breaking his right femur. After arriving at the hospital and being assessed, Sandil's doctor suggested a transfer to a different hospital for treatment. But before the transfer could take place, Sandil had disappeared. His nurse went to check in on him and found him missing. The staff immediately began searching for him and subsequently reported him missing when they were unable to locate him. Weeks later, hospital staff would begin complaining about what they called an unbearable stench. Shortly after, a staff member would find a leak dripping down from the ceiling into the hospital storeroom. On May 25th, Sandil's decomposing body would be discovered in the hospital's ceiling. How did he get in the ceiling after breaking the biggest bone in his body? Sandil's family demanded answers, reporting that they were initially denied the ability to view his body. In both cases, the men had conditions that would prevent them from moving comfortably. How were they able to walk around freely in their state without staff or hospital visitors noticing? Not to mention the effort it would take for them to somehow climb up into the ceiling. Not much can be found on either of these cases, and both remain unsolved to this day.
That video comes from Oddities on Elm Street, and nothing about these stories make any sense whatsoever, but this is how they were presented by news and media. And I wouldn't doubt one bit if there was some kind of illegal organ harvesting taking place here and they were trying to hide the bodies. This next creepy video was sent to me by a subscriber, and this is what they captured. More and more people are seeing this other object in the sky where it looks like there's two moons or two suns, but if you take a look at that person's video, you can also see that this second object also has its own lens flare reflection. But not just that, you can also see the light of the moon and this other object down here as well. This next creepy video comes from Gen X Sean on TikTok, and it has to do with the Mandela effect in a very popular movie, and I really have to say this one is tripping me out.
We've got a brand new Mandela effect, and you are not going to like this one. I'm going to assume that everybody watching this has seen the movie Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, and Marv. But there's one scene in particular that we all remember that actually is not in the movie. I'm sure you remember when Harry and Marv were looking for Kevin, and they can't find him because he's hiding in the nativity scene at the church. And Marv asked Harry, or Joe Pesci, if he wanted to go in the church and look for Kevin. I want you to start commenting what Joe Pesci's reply was, because it's literally not in the movie. We all remember him saying, "Nah, that place gives me the creeps." I know everybody usually watches it around Christmas time, but if you have seen it recently, or you own a VHS or DVD of it, go rewatch that scene, because it literally does not exist in the movie anymore. So I popped over to Reddit as well, and the discussion on this is massive. So if you have seen Home Alone, and you remember this exact scene, what is the quote you remember?
That is wild to me because I do remember Harry saying that place gives me the creeps, so I went ahead and watched the original scene, and it just looks very off, like for whatever reason it looks very rushed, and not how I remember.
Maybe we're in the church.
I'm not going in there.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Sometimes movies, when they're released to DVD or they're played again on TV, they're edited to align with more politically correct times, so I went ahead and looked at the original script, and yeah, the part where he says that place gives me the creeps in relation to the church is nowhere in the original script, so that's really weird.
This thing just moved.
Boy, all the talking heads would have been screaming about the Dallas Cowboys and sticking forth in this organization. So again, kudos to the Cowboys going on the road, getting a good win. Let's see how they win that movie.
But there's a saying in golf, there's no pictures on the scorecard. If you're Dallas, you don't care if it's by 5 or it's going to be like, you just happy that you moved to 2-2. The injury to Parsons, and we don't know anything at this point, he just left Ryan Clark with the left shoe off. How do you assess what that man needs to do? The defense is struggling, but it feels a lot better if he's on the field.
I mean, that would be, if he's missing any significant time, that would be a huge loss. He's the best player on the defensive side of football.
Oh my God. The door just moved.
The safety over the top, and you'll see right down here. A free personal Suzuki dessert. An entree plus free dessert, just $13. That's a sweet deal.
They weren't able to kick a field goal late. There's a lot of involved.
Are you real? You can do it again. I won't watch.
That video comes from Cheeky Chica, and my question is, why even own something like that to begin with? And the house itself in general just gives off such a scary vibe. So, as some of you already know, I have been including a segment in my previous videos that involves an individual named Thunderkeck. He bought a pair of bloody boots off the dark web. This dark web website that has bloody shoes, sneakers, boots, and so forth, and they also have an individual's name and age.
Okay, I'm kind of in a rush here. I got a match I'm packing for. But for those of you that don't know, I bought some shoes off the dark web, and last night I figured out that the heel on one of them was hollow, and it had this in it. Here's what I know. That chip is called an A9G. Here's a GPS, and that is a cellular antenna. It also, importantly, has a SIM card. I searched the other boot and the inside of the VHS. I also searched all through the box and the bubble wrap. Now the lights that were blinking on the chip when I opened it up mean that it was connected to cellular and had a GPS signal. But it stopped blinking like 5 minutes after I made the video, and I haven't seen it blink since. So I'm not sure if it can be like remotely shut off, or it just died, or if it has like a power saving mode. I don't know, I'm really not sure how that's working, but it was definitely flashing when I found it. I'm gonna check out the SIM card or order a burner phone to like put the SIM card into to try to see what network it is. I also might be able to actually connect to the chip and see what code it was running. I'm cautious to like cut the power to the thing or put it in a Faraday cage because I don't want whoever's monitoring it, if there is someone monitoring it, to like see that the signal's lost. But yeah, I've been really busy with wrestling the past couple days, and I'm gonna be for like 2 more days, so I'm hoping tomorrow at the very least I'll be able to make a video analyzing the whole VHS tape situation. So, see you soon. Alright, so the VHS that came with the dark web shoes. I was gonna do like a detailed analysis or whatever today. I didn't have time before work, so I'm just gonna keep this short. So basically the tape is a bunch of horror movie clips in rewind, and then there are a bunch of messages. There are also these things called submission slots, but I'll get back to those. So basically all the messages talk about the shoeman not upsetting him, not destroying the product, which I assume is the boots. Also not losing the product because it will eventually be collected. The submission slots are definitely the more interesting part though. So there are all these little parts of the video that are like sectioned out that say a name and then submission. The slots are definitely why they asked for my name when I bought the boots, because there's a slot in the video that says Shiloh, which is the name I put, and then submission. Most of the submission slots have video recorded over them of, it looks like people wearing the boots who are not moving and sometimes disfigured. I can't get into detail, but sometimes the people are moving and then slightly later they are not moving, so I hope that paints a picture. Most of the submissions are judged as approved, but some of them aren't. Like some people apparently didn't submit or their submission was invalid. Now what people notice is all the submissions that are labeled as invalid are also the names of people on the site with the shoes. And one of the messages that's repeated on the tape a lot is submit or be submitted. And then after the submissions that aren't approved, there are clips from people think the shoeman of those people that didn't submit being submitted. And since one of the messages on the tape a lot is submit or be submitted, basically people think that if you don't add to the tape, you will be added to the tape. Obviously, I'm open to other interpretations or theories, but that's kind of the leading theory as of now. So that's where we're at. Also, I'd recommend not watching the tape because it says watching is enrolling or whatever. So maybe just don't watch it.
So I really don't know how I feel about this one. A part of me wants to believe that this is real. It kind of gives off Andrew Dawson vibes, but another part of me believes that this is a stunt. But in another video where I said that this may be fake, people have pointed out that he does have a history of browsing the dark web. So him going on the dark web and looking at very obscure sites is nothing fake, but I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about this one as of yet. But at the end of the day, whether this is real or it's a skit, it's still very creepy. Now he found a tracking device in the boot, and the videotape he watched is even more creepier. You can see the whole videotape on his YouTube channel, but I don't know if I advise doing so either because some of this stuff is dark. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.